office.
Dude, hey, send me that background.
I know. I want that one too.
All right. I got a couple different versions. I'll send them out.
Nice.
Big Rick Snow. Look at this guy. He's got it's like he's flying an airplane.
Oh no, I'm just in Tahiti. I don't know where you guys are, but you know,
I'm in Hawaii.
we do
Well,
reverse.
you guys are in the same place wherever you are.
Hey, come buy me a drink, man. Where are you? Are you down at the Copa? Come on, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm right down the street from you, man.
Nice.
What's up, Travis?
How's it going?
Yeah, Andrew.
Hey,
Look at that. Who's MMG?
MMG. Oh, that's look at that. It's Alex.
Alex. What's up, you knucklehead?
He can unmute at some there. Yeah.
Yeah, unmute, man. Unmute. We want to hear why you're a minute late. Ooh. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm actually surprised that I'm on time. I'm having issues with my AAG systems. So, like, apparently, if you get 6,000 emails a month, you crash a server. So they're like, no big deal, Rick. We'll get you another server. So then they got me one, and it crashed. So, yeah. Good times. So I'm basically working from my cell phone, and I've got this like weird app that they've given me. So, be patient with me.
Yeah.
How many people have done a reverse? Like recently? All right.
I think
cool.
we've got one going with you right now with Paul.
Alex, unmute yourself because it's gonna be an open forum. So we're gonna go ahead. Feel free. Don't worry about it.
I did one back in the days when Wells used to do them.
Oh yeah. All right, cool. So there is.
You're good today, Alex.
I know Alex is.
Look at that, dude.
They're looking good today.
I know. Alex has basically boosted all of our cool quota. Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
There you are.
Look at that. And then Paul's coming in with
Anthony,
some
what's
street
up?
cred with this trucker hat.
All right, cool. So what I like to do is everybody's coming from different backgrounds at different levels of experience with reverses. So instead of overwhelming you with a bunch of details, I'd like to just kind of catch up, right? Like, let's just chit chat. So I think that most, if not all of you, are in the forward world, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay. So practicality, practically speaking, how is this product going to affect your daily life? How can you use it? How do you recognize when a forward client would fit better on a reverse mortgage? So let me talk real quick about the term reverse mortgage. I just threw that out there to kind of make sure everybody was on the same page. But does everybody know that the government does not recognize the term reverse mortgage? That those actually went away in 1988? Does everybody know that? Do you guys know that? Okay. So we say it because it kind of harkens back to the majority of the elements that were in this product, but they're completely different now. So the first reverse mortgage was written in 1961 during Savings and Loans, Seattle, Washington. From 1961 to 1988, it was kind of like Wild Wild West. Lenders could do what they wanted. Borrowers could lose their house if they were late on their property taxes and insurance. So a lot of weird things could happen, in these products. Well, in 1998, the Reagan administration began federally insuring these things, and then a thing called the mortgage insurance premium was added. It's an insurance, and that protects the borrowers from a lot of these kind of exigent circumstances. A lot of people don't know that. So since then, they've no longer been called reverse mortgages. They're called home equity conversion mortgages, or HECMs, right? So you hear me kind of flip-flop every now and then, because if I say HECM, sometimes people are like, what is that? What is he talking about? Is this a different product? It's a reverse mortgage, but it's the new reverse mortgages. It's not like how it used to be back in the day. So practicality speaking, these products will help you in your average daily life, specifically if you have a borrower that's looking to do a cash out refi. Okay. What you want to start thinking about is, how can I offer different kind of products that might help these borrowers. So what you want to think, so you have your forward products. You've got a borrower, he's in his 70s and he's looking at doing a cash out refi. You might start thinking, okay, we can do a cash out refi. He's going to be encumbered to this mortgage for the next 8, 15, or 30 years. Or we could probably look at doing a home equity conversion mortgage, HECM, or reverse mortgage, right? So practically speaking, looking at those forward opportunities as potential reverse opportunities, that's kind of where you start to pick up traction with offering this product.
So, Rick, so I just, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I closed a deal, cash out with a borrower. They have to be in their 70s. They had about 100 grand in debt that they wanted to pay off. We barely qualified them. Basically, we pulled out as much money as we could get for them because of based on their income, which we used his and her Social Security and his very limited part-time job driving cars from dealer to dealer. And he was able to get the money, pull it out. And my thought, even at that point, was this makes more sense. Something like this, or this is the next step. Like, hey, this takes care of this for now, but in 5 years, when you don't have that job anymore, this might be the next step because they have that. The house is all they have.
Yeah, totally. And that's the situation that we're seeing is a lot of borrowers, and not all of them, are cash poor, but they've got so much equity in their property. So how do you unlock it? Especially if your income isn't really there. Maybe your credit isn't really there. So, the whole idea is to start thinking HECM. Offer it as a product line. Like, for instance, if you go to a restaurant and you order a salad, they don't usually just have one salad. So the whole idea is there might be a couple of different salads. So you want to kind of, I know that's a weird analogy, I'm kind of hacking through it, but the whole idea is that you want to offer more options. And so that's kind of where we come in. So what I want to do is I want to get you guys the proposal request template. I need email addresses. So can we just go through real quick and everybody just make sure I have their email address?
If you want, I can just send you a roster after this.
Could you send me a roster with, first name, email addresses, and then if you can send me a roster with everybody that that needs it. What I'm going to do, you can send it after the call.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you guys what's called a proposal request form. And the proposal request form is, you got this borrower, he's sitting at your desk, you think he might fit better on a reverse, but you're not really sure. You put their basic information, first name, last name, date of birth, property address, how much you think their property is worth, how many liens they have against it, or what the lien value against it. You get that over to me and I will get you a proposal. And you offer the proposal side by side with your forward opportunities, your forward options as well, and you kind of work on what do you think is going to be best for the borrower, right? So so once I get your email addresses, I'll get you guys over that proposal template. Okay. But since most of us probably haven't seen an active reverse in a little bit, can I go ahead and just bring up like a sample one and we can kind of play around?
You should be able to share screen.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen and then so okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to twist my body over cuz I've got three monitors here. But I'm going to take you through my workflow. When let's say okay, I'm going to pick on somebody. Andrew, are you there?
Yes.
Andrew, I'm going to ask you to give me hypothetical numbers based off of maybe a borrower that you're working with or just somebody that you can make it up. That's fine. We're going to drop it into the system and we're going to see if the deal works. Guys, not every deal works. That's why we're going to do this. We're going to see if we can make it work. If we can make it work, great. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat too, if a deal doesn't work, I'll tell you. Don't waste your time. But okay, let's go through the basics. Andrew, you're up. First name, last name.
My client,
No, just this is all hypothetical, so just give me basic information.
Gerardo. This should make it a really hard.
I'm just gonna go Gerardo Tesla. Okay. So the borrower has to be a minimum of 62 to work on a HECM. So I'm just gonna put in a fake birthday.
1942.
942. All right, awesome. Okay, I'm gonna put in a fake address, right? So 1 Windsor Palace, 90210. Okay. So now I get down to here and I get property value. Let's say Mr. Testlone lives in a $2 million property. Okay. If he lives in a $2 million property, the jumbo products are going to automatically populate if they qualify. If not, so you might go, wait a minute, is a jumbo product available for this market? If it's not, then it won't populate. If it is, then it will populate. But anyway, you can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, he lives in a $2 million property. He owes $190,000. Okay, so I'm gonna repeat this here. I'm just gonna go to Windsor. This is all just fake stuff, right? So the property was built in 1980. Okay.
The software looks painful like Calyx.
Yeah. We have learned so that the anti-anxieties really help. You take the little anti-anxiety pill. It helps with the reverse vision. No, I'm just kidding. But 1 second here.
That's why the rumor that these guys are always a little bit intoxicated is.
Oh yeah, you gotta.
The software.
You really have to have a nice healthy liver in order to. Remind me again what your guys' NMLS is. The company NMLS.
We're supposed to know that.
You don't have to. I mean, what's does anybody have the company NMLS?
Pick 7 numbers. It's 1944. 311.
Let me
Oh,
unmute
is it
myself
really?
here.
Is it really?
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
The company NMLS is 203-4819.
Thank you.
You're close.
For WDE. I just Realty Rise. So all right. So then I'm gonna find you guys here. Realty Rise, and we'll go Paul Anthony. This is Paul. Now this is Paul's deal.
All right.
Okay. So the way we look at this is RV is going to populate just a smattering of different products that fit for this borrower. So then you, me, and Candace are going to figure out which one that we're going to lead with. Now, because it's over $2 million, we're most likely going to lead with a home safe because it's a jumbo. So I'm going to go over here and grab, and guys, you don't have to worry about like taking notes or following along. This is all just hypothetical. So once I double click this product, it's going to populate all of the proposal data based off of this product, and all of the application, all the disclosures will all be based off of this product. But on a $2 million property, this is the home value, the $2 million. We'll just start at the top down. AAG Home Safe HS is the home safe product. SEL Select is the adjustable. WS means wholesale, and then CMT is the constant maturity treasury. That's the like LIBOR, what the index rate is based off of. The margin, so you'll have like 4 different margins to choose from on a home safe. They won't change the value of the PL, so you just use whatever is the lowest. Okay, so you get the margin, you have the initial rate. The initial rate is the interest that the borrower is going to pay on the back end. So it's all back end. They don't pay any interest on, so it's a loan, right? So there's interest on the loan, But the interesting thing about reverses is that the interest is deferred until the property is sold. So the whole idea is that we're going to remove them from the encumbrance of an 8, 15, or 30-year mortgage, and we're going to put them, and we're going to give them the same product. Basically, it's going to be a loan against their equity, but the interest is deferred until the property is sold. So it frees up their capital. That's a really unique thing that I really love about this product. So 5.68% is what they're going to pay on the loan on a $2 million, property. But I'm going to show you an interesting thing, because one of the questions that we have is, okay, the interest that gets paid, let's give it a dollar amount. Let's say it's going to be $100,000 in interest. Well, that property is going to be increasing in value at a certain rate, whether it's 4%, 6%. In Phoenix market, we're seeing 30% increases annually on property values. So the equity of that property is going to continue to grow as that borrower ages, and then eventually when that borrower gets ready to sell the property or dies, there's going to be so much equity in that property that the equity itself pays for that loan. The borrowers never pay for the loan. They can make a payment if they want, but they don't pay for it. Cool? Well, okay, awesome. So you've got a $2 million property. The principal limit is what I'm going to give them. Okay? I'm going to give him $1.2 million for this as a loan for this property. The 1.2, I know, it gets, so this right here, the IMIP, the IMIP is the mortgage insurance, it's the initial mortgage insurance premium. The borrower pays for their insurance based out of the loan that I'm going to give them. So they don't come out of their pocket, but it's just I keep a little bit of the loan that I'm going to give them to cover my insurance. My insurance is what's going to keep that borrower in their property if they outlive what we expect them to live. And what that means is we're expecting borrowers to live, they used to be 80 years old. Now we're expecting that borrowers will live to 95, 105 years old. This IMIP, and you'll see that there's NA right now because we're on a home safe product, and this is not an FHA product, this is my product. But the IMIP on the traditional HECM, what that does is that allows my borrower to stay in their property up until the age 140. They can be 140 years old before I start to knock on their door and say, okay, that loan that I gave you, I'd like to get a little bit of that back. So that's that. Right now, there's no origination fee. That's fine. You can adjust that. The closing cost on this loan is $47.16. So out of the $1.2 million that I'm going to give them, the mandatory obligations is $46.17, the settlement cost, and we can adjust those too.
Can that come out of the 1.2?
Yeah, that comes out of the 1.2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the 1.2, out of the 1.2, I've got my IMIP, which is not available on this one. And just so you know, the investors that buy these loans, they have their own version of IMIP that they carry in the back end. It's not visible here like it is on this product, but it is available on the back end. The investors that buy these loans, they buy these loans knowing that some of our borrowers are going to live longer. So it's still there. It's just not going to reflect on the quote, and that's fine. Origination fee, settlement costs. So this 1.212 minus 47.16 is going to give me 1.207. Okay, this is my remaining principal limit. Of my 1.207, 190 of it is going to pay off my forward mortgage. Okay. After the 190 is paid off, I've got an available principal limit left of $1.07 million. Of that $1.07 million, I'm going to give your borrower as a wire transfer at closing $896,000. Okay, which is based off a 90% PL. The $896,000 leaves $121,000 left in a line of credit available in the first year that grows at 1.5% annually. So when you look at savings accounts, right? So I have a savings account. My savings account is like 0.00052% or something like that. Like this line of credit is going to sit into a savings account or a line of credit account. It's basically like it's like an escrow account, but there's interest that is being accrued onto that. So when I create a proposal for this opportunity, you will see a line of credit growth schedule as well as an amortization schedule of the loan. Those are all inside the proposal. Full disclosure to the borrowers. The borrowers are going to want to know how much is this line of credit going to grow over the next 30 years, and what is my interest going to be when I sell the property. It's all in the proposal. So, and it's obviously my crystal reports is having a hard time today, so my systems are going a little slow. But to generate the proposal, I go up to documents when it actually starts to work. I just go up to documents and I click proposal, and it's going to generate a proposal that I'm going to send to you, your team, and your team could sit with the borrower at their desk and go through the proposal and ensure the borrower what they're going to get. Sorry, it's going super slow right now. I assure you it's there. This is real time, real life.
But you're only doing like one of these a week then, I guess, at this speed.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, no, normally, so it's just they got me a new laptop and my it crashed as well. But I mean, I probably do, on top of all of the other buildings that I run into to put out fires with conditions and fighting with underwriters, I probably do maybe 30 of these a day. So anyway, it's still thinking, and basically when it's done thinking, it'll generate a proposal. It's there. So that's for property that's $2 million, right? And I promise, as soon as that thing is done thinking, I will generate the proposal so you could actually see the amortization schedule and leases. Remind me if we get too far in the conversation and that thing hasn't finished thinking. Remind me. So you can see over here where it says closed loan is kind of grayed out. That means it's still thinking. But remind me to make sure to show you guys a copy of what that proposal is going to look like. That's basically like a hypothetical, but that's what that looks like. So, okay, any questions on home safe or the numbers that we went through?
So my initial question would be, if I was looking at this, and is there a way to look at that, what interest is going to be is being accrued? Do we see that somewhere?
Totally. That is going to be in the proposal. It looks like
Okay.
it's just totally crashed. Yeah, it looks like it's just crashing on me right now.
You're like Michael Jordan, man, with shoes. You're just one computer at a time.
Yeah, right. Just blowing through them. Yeah, it's
okay. But so
really
in general, though, that will actually, how does it show up as a total of the loan, as an annual accrual?
Yeah. So it's page 8 of the proposal will show an amortized schedule. So it'll show year 1, and it'll show based off through the life expectancy. So it'll say year 1, and it'll go out to like year 30, right?
Okay.
And at year 30, you'll see this is the loan, the interest on the loan that's due at closing. That's due when it's and then you'll see like if the borrower looks at like year 10 and say, okay, Andrew, what if I want to refinance at year 10? Then this is the amount of the loan that's due at year 10. It's all like spelled out through there.
Right.
Sorry guys, it's completely crashed. So I'm gonna see if I can let me see if I can just stop the system. I'll just stop it and then come back into it. So the amortization schedule is written in the proposal, as well as the interest that's accrued that's written in the proposal as well. So, okay, all right. So we got the proposal. Let's say you got the proposal. You're sitting with the borrower. They're sitting at your desk. They go, "Wow, I didn't know this even existed. This is amazing. Okay, I want to move forward." So now what do you do? In the proposal, on page 11, there's going to be a list of mandatory counselors that your borrower has to attend in order to do one of these loans. Okay, what is the mandatory counseling? You don't have to do that in the forward loan world, right? So what is it What
Is
is
that
what does that
similar
mean?
to like a home ready type of counseling?
Totally. So
Okay.
borrowers have the biggest, I guess, thing that worries borrowers when they get their mortgage statement is it'll say zero on it. It'll say zero due on it, zero balance due on it, and that freaks borrowers out. They're like, wait a minute, what do you mean I don't have a mortgage payment? It's like, well, yeah, you don't have a mortgage payment because there's no mortgage. We paid off your mortgage. You have a loan now, but your loan isn't due until there's a maturity event. So you can pay towards your interest of your loan, but your balance due right now is zero, and it'll be zero for the rest of your life. What? What? Really? Yeah, really.
So is there a, okay, so that I understand the idea, but
Mhm.
I'm thinking if I'm explaining this to my mother-in-law, who I think this is type of program makes sense for her, how do I how would we relay the information of how the property is slowly being owned by the lender over time? So based on this, this, like, because the debt's growing, correct? The longer you have this mortgage, the money that they owe back, or the equity that they would have to pay off if they sell the house, grows, correct?
Yeah, I'm just gonna correct you on one thing though.
Yeah.
So
I said a
the
bad
lender,
word. I
no,
said a bad word.
no, no, it's okay.
We don't
No,
own the property.
the lender, we never own it. Yeah, we're never. So there's two deeds. There's always two deeds when it comes with HECMs, but the note is owned by the borrower. It's always, the property is always owned by the borrower. It's never owned by the lender. So
Right, and
yeah.
again, lack of understanding the
Oh
terminology.
but I'm glad that you said that, because other people might be thinking as well, like, okay, the lender owns the property. No, we never own it. We're never on title. We never your borrower owns that property flat out. That's still their property. All we're doing is giving them a loan on it. It's just like any other forward world. When you have a loan on a property, it's still your property. Now now, that being said, the borrower, so they still own their property. They're still responsible for taxes and insurance, right? So borrowers still have to pay their taxes and insurance. And yeah, if you don't pay your taxes and insurance in this planet, if you don't pay taxes and insurance, you're going to lose your property. That's just how this stuff works, right? The king always gets his cut. But this product is kind of interesting because we can actually help the borrower with that as well. You guys familiar with that bit? Are you guys familiar with that? Okay. So one of the biggest ways that back in the day, people were getting hung up is they would have, this is back in the day, so we're just going to use the term reverse mortgage, but then they'd stop paying their property taxes and insurance. And keep in mind, some of these borrowers are 80. So, when they get to be 85 or 90 and they're just living on a social security number, oh, there's some music going in the background, if somebody can go on mute.
I forget how to print the flyers over there. I gotta email something somewhere, right?
If you guys can go on mute, there's some background noise. I don't want to mute out the entire group, but yeah.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
it.
All right, go ahead. So, all right, cool. So, yeah, my RV crashed, but I'm booting it back up again. It's not always like this. It's just they're trying to get me a new computer. So, anyway, bear with me. So out of that $1 million that we were about to give the borrowers, if they have taxes and insurance, like let's say their taxes are $2,000 a year and their insurance is $1,000 a year, right? So they have $3,000 a year. We can multiply that out over the next 30 years. We can estimate that, like for instance, let's say it's $90,000 in taxes and insurance that are due. We can take that $90,000 out of that million that we're going to give them, and I'll keep that separately set aside, and I'll put that in an account that actually still grows at interest as well at 0.012%. So I'll keep that money set aside, and I'll pay their taxes and insurance for the rest of their lives. Okay, what does that mean? You have no forward mortgage, you have no taxes, and you have no insurance. All of the income that you have coming in goes right to your bottom line, and you're going to get $900,000 at closing and $100,000 in a line of credit.
So in this, okay, so I feel like this is interesting. So now my mind's processing, okay, how do I live on $900,000?
Hmm.
Like, is there, like, how much of that 900,000, or like, how much is the typical client of this type of mortgage taking per month and using? Is it $1,000? Is it 2,000?
Most of these clients across the nation are living on $896 a month across the nation. That's what they're living on. That's what we've done to our seniors in America.
So you don't do any of these in California.
So let me tell you, if somebody is living on 896 in California, they may come to you with a smile, but they're crumbling on the inside.
Uh-huh.
They are scared to death on the inside.
What about federal income tax on the cash out that you give them? Do they get hit hard on that, or not at all, or how does that work?
No. So because it's a loan, and it's based off, it's not income. It's not income. So the taxes don't get changed at all. Not affected at all.
Nice. Okay.
No,
I mean,
not affected at all.
it sounds like this is similar to, I mean, is it similar to like a HELOC?
Okay, kind of, but not really. So
So yes, but no.
yeah, more like no.
All right.
Yeah, more like no. So the the line of credit is it's akin more to the forward loan. It's more of a forward scenario than a reverse. But here, one sec. I'm just going to show you guys the proposal. But your line of credit is going to be based off of your LTV on the property, and most of these borrowers will not qualify for it based off of income and
For a HELOC.
for the HELOC based off of
Right.
income and based off of credit.
And generally, is this client also not qualifying for the cash out if they wanted to go that route?
Sometimes. So the
Okay.
cash out refi. So the challenge with the cash out is, okay, hypothetically speaking, $2 million, I'm going to give them 75% LTV. Do they have the money to pay the mortgage on the 75% LTV? So usually the question is, okay, I can give you a cash out refi, but you're still going to have a mortgage. Can you cover that? And the answer could be yes. Usually the answer is I can't cover that. One of the things that you're going to find is that out of the cash out refi and a home equity line of credit, none of them are going to have, particularly on the HECM, the home safe. The home safe is a little bit different, but particularly on the HECM, you're not going to find any interest rate that is as low as the HECM.
So when I think of this loan, like the way you described it, which is definitely more information than I've probably ever had in detail, I appreciate that. It sounds like the way that the lender is making the money is at the point when the house sells and they get the lump sum interest.
Yep.
So they're basically investing money up front, potentially not seeing any type of return for say 10, 15 years.
Yeah, sometimes even longer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the
And
only way.
Part of the 5-6% interest, I assume.
Yeah.
The bigger return.
That's part of it. So and then on top of that is so we're counting on the home value going up. That way there's enough spread in order for us to get our cut back.
Right.
What happens if it doesn't happen? What happens if the property goes down?
So is that when that insurance comes into play?
You're so silly. All right, I'm going to share my screen. My proposal is up now.
Which at that point probably makes that when you just that little bit of information, it makes the cost of that insurance a no-brainer. I would believe.
Totally. All right. So we're on the home safe. I would use a home safe as an example. Okay, so we're going to get into so this is the counseling disclosure. So if this were a proposal that we were going to be sending to you guys, the list of counselors is on page 9, right? So They can do the counseling in person, and the counselors that are populated on this list are populated based off of a proximity to the zip code of the subject property. That way we're not sending borrowers to counselors in Georgia if they live in California. There are counselors that do it by telephone. There's some that are just internet based. So you basically read through this and you make sure that when they call any of these people, any of these approved counselors, make sure that they request the home safe counseling if this is going to be a home safe loan. Okay. And then they give them these counseling docs and they take their counseling. Okay. So
Is this a couple hour class? Is this a
it's 90
weekly thing?
It's 90 minutes and it's boring.
Okay. It's like
yeah.
driver's education.
It's just what, and you've got 4.24% initial rate, expected rate, the secondary markets, and it's some guy that's just, most of our borrowers are like, some of our borrowers like have the Nancys of the world. They have their pens and their paper. They're taking down notes. They're going to come back to, this question and this question. I like those, the Spitfires. I like them. All right. So, okay. So you have an amortization schedule. All right. So what you're going to be looking at is year 1 all the way out to year 20. So based off of this borrower's age, we're expecting a 20-year life expectancy. Okay. So what we're looking at is, this is what kind of equity we have right now, $900,000 in equity. Okay. We're looking at a loan balance of 4.27 million on a property value of 4.38 million in the next 20 years. So this property is going to double in value based off of the zip code. So in RV, they use the zip code to calculate what they expect the property values will do over the next 20 years based off of what they've done in the last 20 years. All right, so your line of credit is going to grow, and I have an actual line of credit schedule, but your line of credit will grow over the next 10 years from 123 to 134 if they haven't touched it. Now, the one thing to remember about the line of credit is after 10 years, they're just like HELOCs. We don't know what the market's going to do. So we encourage our borrowers to utilize the line of credit in the first 10 years. Okay, so just so you know, it doesn't really come up in conversation. Borrowers can do what they want with their line of credit, but it does play the market just like a HELOC does.
And does this line of credit work independently of everything else?
Yeah, it's its own beast. So so your borrowers will have access to the servicing team, and so what will happen after the loan closes, within the first month, your borrower is going to get a welcome package, and inside that welcome package, you're going to have stamps, and the stamps they can use to access their line of credit. Once they contact servicing can set them up with like a debit card or something like that. But the line of credit is revolving, so they can take money out, put money back in, and it's going to constantly revolve. But this is what the loan balance is going to be due. The loan balance is going to at 20 years, it'll be 427 on a 438 property.
Yeah. So a quick question on the line of credit. So at year 10. At year 10, I've borrowed $100,000 of the 134.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens at that point? So the 34, if there's 34 left at when it ends, that goes away. It's just not available.
No, well, so the 34 could end on the year 11. It really just depends on what the market's doing. So the borrowers just contact servicing.
Okay.
But within a year of the year 10 mark, the servicing department will reach out. They have an open communication with the borrowers since the loan closes. They'll let them know if the line of credit, if there's a potential that the line of credit will not exist next year, the servicing team will reach out within a year and let them know that your line of credit is facing its extinction level, so then they can use all of it. Mm-hmm. So, and that's usually like the idea is if you've got $34,000 left in line of credit, and particularly if it's been growing, utilize it, or it's just going to go back into the equity of the property.
And now you're not paying any, because this is actually your money, you're not paying any interest on it, are you?
Correct. You're gaining interest on it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
even if I use 100 grand, I'm still gaining interest on the 34.
Correct.
Okay,
At 1.5%.
right.
Yeah. So the equity of the property is what pays back the loan. The borrowers never pay back. Here, I'm going to show you. I have an actual.
Man, I gotta say, I'm a fan of this.
Well, it's just it's
It just makes it seems like it's a great tool.
it really is, like, particularly my uncle inherited his house from my grandmother who passed away. He's 72. She had a 6% loan that she was paying on the property that she was paying. He comes and he's like, hey, nephew, I want to refinance. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, you want to take on a 30-year note? Like, you're 72 years old. We want to be doing paying a mortgage for the next 30 years. And so he was like, well, I don't, what else am I gonna do? And I was like, you need to do a conversion, man. Take a look at the Heckams. And he's like, what's that? What's that? And so I go, well, it used to be a reverse mortgage until it got fixed, and now they're completely different. And we ran his numbers, and he's gonna get like $250,000 at closing, and it's like, wow. Oh, so here's another thing too. Do the borrowers have to take the entire $250,000? So there's minimum draws, right? So, like for instance, on a home safe, there's no minimum draw. They can put it all on line of credit available 1 year, the first year, the second year. But on the Heckams, there's a minimum draw. So let's say they get 250,000 at closing, they don't want to take it. They have to take a minimum 25%, whatever that is. Maybe it's 75,000, right? Okay. But, and this never comes up, but I'm going to tell you anyway. If they take the whole 250,000 and then pay it back the next day, right? That's going to affect your broker comp. Don't let them do that. That's not how it's supposed to work. So your compensation is based off of utilization, right? So if we give you guys, like for instance, let me show you what your broker comp is going to be on this home safe. Okay, just so you have a frame of reference. On this hypothetical deal, the broker compensation is 29,000, right? That's your compensation for this deal. On top of that 29,000,
That's paid. That's lender paid comp or
that's
borrower
lender pay.
paid?
That's lender pay comp.
Nice.
Yeah,
So that's at the current zero origination charge.
correct. Well, so right now there's $15,000 origination. There's no MIP, but there's a 15,000 origination. So there's 29,000 in broker yield spread to you. There's 15,000 in comp to Rise. Okay, the 15,000 to comp is broker paid, or I'm sorry, borrower paid out of their PL. Okay, so the borrower is going to pay Realty Rise 15 grand. So your total comp on this is 29 plus 15, which is like what, 30, 45. So your total broker comp is 45,000. Okay. All right. So that's based off. Does somebody have a question? Oh, so that's broker comp. It's never happened before, but if it comes up, if a borrower takes the whole $800,000 and then the next day pays all $800,000 back, it could affect your yield spread. That's not how these deals are supposed to work. It never happens. But if your borrower's like, I decided I don't want to do this loan, or if I don't want all that money or whatever, like, we won't come after them. We can as part of the broker comp agreement, but just that's just not how it's supposed to work.
So one of the I think one of the ideas of this type of mortgage that existed was that the borrower, the homeowner, would get monthly payments.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in that scenario, is that two things? Is that possible to do that through the mortgage, and does it affect our compensation?
No. Yes, it's possible, and no, it doesn't affect your compensation. So the home safe product is a proprietary product that doesn't play the market like the Heckam. So there's no monthly payment option on the home safe product. The monthly payment option is only available on the traditional Heckam. On the traditional Heckam, the monthly payments are $21.75 for life if they don't touch the PL. They'll get 2,175 monthly payments for life. That there's no tax on that because it's not income.
And when you say for life, that's basically for the life of the loan.
The borrower.
scenario.
The life expectancy for the borrower, which
Oh.
is 20 years for this particular borrower.
Okay.
So if they don't touch the PL, so for instance, so one of the biggest things is all right, so this is my available PL. Okay. So I'm going to dissipate that over the next 20 years and give you $2,000 a month for the next 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
On top of your 896 that you're getting from your Social Security and whatever you're getting from driving cars to the airport.
Right. I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, it's just a different option. It's just a different option to offer to borrowers. And one of the things I was here. Let me see if I can.
All right. So I guess my next question at this point would be, so we're on year 20. I've been taking steroid replacement therapy. I'm feeling strong. I think I'm going to live another 10 years. What happens to my income, this deal, my house?
So you mean after the 20 years?
20 years, correct.
I
think I'm going to live 10 more years.
Oh, you still have so the loan is due when there's a maturity event, so nothing happens unless there's a maturity event. So there's nothing. Now if there is property taxes and insurance that have been paid through the loan that are about to expire because they're at their 20-year mark and you're living longer, then the servicing department is going to reach out to you and let you know that the amount that we set aside 20 years ago is about to expire. And at that point, you'll need to refinance the HECM or the home safe, whatever it is, so that you can pull more equity out and put it towards that life expectancy set aside. Or they'll say, you know, do you have anything left in your balance that we can use towards your property taxes and insurance? So that's at that 20-year mark. Servicing team will negotiate with the borrower whatever they're comfortable with. It's really borrower driven what they want to do.
So okay.
Hey, yeah, real quick, Andrew. I have to jump off because I got a 10 o'clock, but I just wanted to say thanks to Ricky for all the info.
Oh,
this
man,
is a great product.
Thank you. There's more details. But give me your guys' emails. I'll send you over the proposal request form so we can do in real time. If there's a borrower comes up, we work on their deals and we'll offer them the best product that we can.
Nice. I really appreciate it.
We're recording
so
this
much.
too, and that'll go back out. So,
Okay.
Darren, we're at like 40 something minutes right now. So
Okay.
on the
Perfect.
replay, just get past all that.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Good deal.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Cool. Okay.
So, do you have time to look at so at that 20-year mark where you talked about refinancing a HECM, like what that looks like?
Yeah. Okay. So HECM to HECM refinances are a big deal right now. Okay. They're a big deal because we saw home values go up in 2020 so much. Okay. So all those people that did HECMs in 2014 and 2016 were really seeing a spread. Okay. You can do a reverse refinance at 1 year. That's the minimum that you don't have to wait for 20. If you wait for 20, that's great, but you don't have to wait for 20. You can do it at 1 year. Okay. All HECM to HECM refinances require a 5-1 benefits test. Okay. This is HUD and FAR. Okay. FAR is the investor for the home safes. HUD is the investor for the HECMs. Both of these entities require the loan to pass a 5-1 benefits test, which means the loan has to benefit the borrower 5 times to 1 in order for either of these entities to approve that refinance. Okay. Candace and I can help you calculate those numbers to make sure that it's going to work. But if you do, so they say HECMs are the gift that keep on giving, right? So if you do a reverse or a HECM for your borrower in 2022, you can call them in 2023 and refinance them. So you keep it, you put it on your calendar, you know, close Bob on, you know, February 1st, 2022. 6 months from now, call Bob. Let him know, hey, just thinking about you. Thank you again for doing that deal. Just keep in mind that you can refinance in February 2023. How's everything going? Are you happy? Whatever, you know, do you need any more cash out or whatever? Like whatever. I don't know. But probably about 8 months into their existing loan, you can start talking to them about refinancing, getting the payoff statement, putting together a proposal, that kind of stuff. We just can't close for a year. We can do some exceptions if we want to close sooner. If the borrower like ran out of money and they need money for medicine or something like that, we can request exceptions. But you don't have to wait for the 20 years to do so. But
So
you can.
5-to-1 benefit seems pretty aggressive. Like, what's that look like? So, and I'm thinking, my thinking is that $2,100. Like, does that have to be 10,000?
The 2,100 can be 10,000.
Like that's when you say 5-to-1, that's
Oh,
what I'm thinking. Okay, does
oh.
that now mean that this loan has to be able to push out 10 grand a month?
No.
Okay.
So when you're looking at home value appreciations, so
Mhm.
if your property, let's say your property was worth $2 million. Like, so $2 million times 0.06. If your property has gone up $120,000, that's going to be used to refinance. You've got mandatory obligations. You'll have to shore up your IMIP, your closing cost, and whatever's left over will have to be divided by 5. And if, as long as your closing costs do not exceed $24,000, then your deal will be okay. If your closing cost goes to $24,001, then HUD or FAR will not consider this deal a benefit to the borrower because it's too expensive to do it.
And in that scenario, you're waiting another 6 months.
Yeah, you can wait 3 months. You can adjust your closing cost. So what Candace and I will do we'll work with you to adjust your closing costs, first of all, to make sure that the deal is under the 5-1. We can also request an exception for your deal to be at a 4-1, which that means that we'll take on the risk for that 1%, and that's fine as well. So, but it comes down to, there's 3 tests. So there's the loan seasoning test, which is like 12 months. There's the closing cost test, which the closing cost cannot exceed 5% of the difference between the 2 PLs. So that's, like, for instance, that's 24,000.
Mhm.
And then there's the loan proceeds test. The loan proceeds test means that if the equity in the property has not gone up that much and the property doesn't appraise for at least $120,000 over what it appraised for last year, then we're trying to pay off, you know, an $800,000 loan with a $780,000 new loan, which will be negative, not a benefit to the borrower.
Right.
Okay. As long as it passes those 3 tests, then it can go forward. If it doesn't pass those three tests, then it's not going to work. Or if there's a way that we can make it work by squeezing some numbers out of here and there, then we can. But you want to look at your whole, from the time that it appraised on your first deal to now. You want to make sure that there's at least a 6% spread in the equity there. If it's not.
So question on, so let's say we are doing this 1 year later.
Mhm.
If I go back and look at that, the amortization chart, it looked like there was 70 grand in interest, because this would be a maturity event, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So is that 74 grand being paid right then?
Yep. It has to be
So
paid
that's
up.
part of the 100, that's what dropped us to the 24.
Mm-hmm. So when you're doing a refinance, you have to request the payoff statement and the refinance worksheet from the existing servicer. So let's say the existing servicer was AAG. Then I'm just going to reach out to my servicing department and ask them for the payoff. The payoff department is going to reach out to servicing and say, hey, you know, how much of this did the borrower use? What kind of interest is required? And they're going to shore up all of it, all the interest, anything that they've borrowed. They're basically going to wipe the slate clean and start over again. Okay, that it works. It works 90% of the time. The 10% of the time that it doesn't work is when you're trying to do the refi too quickly. 8 months, the value isn't there. You know, it's just not going to pass the benefits test. or if something, well, no, really the only time that a refinance doesn't work is if the equity just hasn't gone up as much. That's what we're seeing in 2021. We saw home values shoot up in 2020. And what we're seeing is they're kind of a plateau between 2021 and so far 2022. So right now, it's just not a great time to do a quick refinance. It's a great time if you got a borrower that did a Heckham back in 2016 or 18 or whatever. Great
Yeah.
time if it's more than a year. Not a great time if it's been less than a year.
And so in this scenario, if you're doing the refi, a year later, we'll just keep it a year in time. The properties, let's say we're at 2 million. 2 million got us basically 1.2 million to the owner, the homeowner. Let's say that for whatever reason that goes up, the new values 2.3 million.
Mm-hmm.
So now what happens is everything gets paid off, and then we're starting basically that now 2.3 million, and the homeowner is basically getting 1.3 maybe 1.35.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way that works out.
Yeah, I'll show you right here. So
Okay.
basically, it's like going. So you're doing a new deal based off of 2.3 million now, and
Right.
now all we're going to do
essentially
is
you're going to get it looks like, and I know it's not exact, but it's about 60% of the equity is what they.
It actually is. Yeah.
Okay.
Andrew, that's amazing that you caught that. It's roughly 67%. Sometimes, like, depending on if the borrower is a little bit on the younger side, it might be 57.9. But yeah,
Right.
it's roughly.
So a year later, my property goes up 300 grand, which means I can do a refinance of my Heckham and pull out 180 grand of that.
Correct. So
that's awesome. Okay, that makes sense to make it worthwhile. Like,
yeah.
Hey, here's a way to get access to another 100. Because, and if you don't do the refi, the equity is just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
So you can either not do anything and continue on because you're comfortable, or you have access to this 180 grand because of the property value. And that makes this, in our current market, which I would understand why this is probably a super popular thing, because in 18 months, home values might only go up 3 or 4 or 5% versus our 20 or 30 right now.
Yeah. And in those situations where if the home value hasn't gone up that much, like 3%, then, and the borrower needs money, we move to plan B. If they do have, usually a forward isn't going to work in that situation.
Sure.
I mean, we do these so that we can give borrowers, like, for instance, when we gave that one borrower, $1 million, and a year later, if they've blown through their $1 million and they need to do another refi and the property value is just not there, then that's a red flag that they're just not good with money.
Obviously that, they sealed their fate. So let's this is actually a pretty amazing product.
I was really skeptical when I got into the business. I was like, I'm hearing everything from reverse mortgages are amazing to reverse mortgages are the devil. So I had to jump in and go, what's the truth? And the truth is that I think they're a little harder to qualify. I personally, I own some rental properties, and I do a lot of forwards and a lot of cash out refinance, that kind of stuff. I think that they're not harder.
When you say qualify for the borrower, is it harder to qualify?
Well, so the borrower has to be 62. That's the one thing.
Okay.
So sure. not all borrowers are going to qualify, and there's not really age discrimination, but it's like, if your borrower is 92 years old, why am I going to put them on a 30-year note?
But this product was made for if you don't have Social Security or something, so it does make sense.
Yeah, and we're even seeing millionaires. Like, we just did a $6 million condo in New Jersey. Millionaires are doing this too. It's not even about so we do condos. That's another thing too, but also Heckham for purchase, right sizing. you know, you've got a family that wants to move out to California to be closer to their grandchildren, put a HECM on it. You see that property out there? Oh, you know, these, when you're driving down the street and you're like, man, you know, these properties doubled in value since last year and you can't keep them on the market. How is this even happening? It's HECM for purchase. People are putting HECMs on those properties. AAG is putting 60% down on those. So you're selling your property in Idaho, you're taking that capital and you're putting it into this one to balance it out. And, you know.
Hold on a second. So you're saying that I could have a new buyer right now, if they and they want to buy $1 million property, you guys are going to put up $600K, and they're going to get They're going to get that property and $2,200 for life.
Yeah, so we'll put up 600K. That is the PL. So we're going to use that PL. So if it's either 600K or $2,200, right?
Okay.
But yeah, we'll put up, so if they want to buy $1 million property, I'll put up 600,000 and they just bring whatever they sold from their departure property to finish to show up the closing.
Damn, and we were excited when we got DPAs that would give you, 3% down payment assistance.
I know. Hey,
DPAs are $10,000 limit.
No, man, DPAs are amazing, especially for some of our younger borrowers. One of my friends, Jose, he's like 29 years old. He's gonna do a DPA. Maybe I'll send him over to you guys. Andrew, send me your information. Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, but a HECM for purchase, we put up the capital for it. So they, they do their counseling out in Idaho or whatever, and they want to move to California. They put a HECM on the property in California. We close, and then they get to move in.
And so that's someone. So like for my situation, if in 10 years we could do this, we could do a HECM for purchase, buy wherever we're going to buy. Now in that situation, we still have a mortgage, but actually we don't, right? Because you don't have the mortgage, and my wife, we live off of my wife's pension basically. We know that's coming in no matter what, but we have no mortgage. We have a new house.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a really interesting product.
All right,
I'm
guys.
the only one excited.
No, it's just it is exciting.
If you look at Paul, obviously looks excited.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah,
him.
it is exciting. Okay, so make sure I get your email addresses. I'm 2 minutes late for my 10 o'clock. Make sure I get your email addresses, and then scenario by scenario, brick by brick, piece by piece, we work on our deals as they come in. But until, sorry guys, my family just came home. But until and as far as generating the proposals, Candace and I are happy to do those for you. We also have reverse vision that we can give to you so that your team can generate their own proposals. You can do it in real time with the borrower there. You can also, reach out to us. My systems have been giving me some troubles lately, as you can tell. So just be patient with me if my SLA time is a little slower than it normally is. Thank you in advance for their patience for that. But give me your email addresses. I'll get you over the proposal request form, and then set the expectation of about 24 hours with your borrower. That way you and I can review the proposal if there's anything interesting that pops up.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, we'll get you a roster after we finish up this, and then this has been great, man. I think this is a really cool product. I mean, it's definitely different. It's got unique features.
It does, yeah.
And there's no lack of 62-year-old people that could benefit from this.
Yeah, don't be late to the party, guys. The word is getting out there. And we want you to have a front seat.
Yeah, this thing's awesome.
All right, thanks, guys.
Cool.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Okay.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.